Hello and welcome to the IAACE Teacher Talks. Today, our topic is keeping adult learners engaged through motivation, persistence, and small wins. We have Katie Walton here from River Valley Resources. And Katie, I'll let you introduce yourself.
All right, thanks, Maeve. Like Maeve said, I'm Katie Walton. I'm the Adult Education Director at River Valley Resources. We are mainly located in Madison, Indiana. We cover 12 counties in Region 9 and 10. And since I love teaching so much, I'm still a teacher at one of our local jails.
Awesome. So we're just going to go through some questions about how you keep your learners engaged, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, sounds good.
So, what do you think the biggest challenge for our adult learners are? What do they face when it comes to staying motivated?
So, as we know, our adult learners come to us with a ton of barriers and challenges. And then when they get there, how do we keep them in the classroom, engaged, participating? That is a big issue because they have so much going on in their lives as is. So, I rely heavily on personal connections and finding things that they enjoy learning about and bringing those into the classroom. We have pretty small size classrooms, so I can really personalize the curriculum for each student, and I think that's key. If you find something a student likes, finding stories for them to read about it, or science projects they can learn about, things that interest them, gets them to, oh, I want to learn more about this, and the teacher's really working to find stuff that interests me, gets them to come back to class. And then always food, right? Food is the big motivator. So having snacks and drinks they like and a hot cup of coffee is a big thing to keep students engaged when maybe they have dropped the kids off at daycare and they haven't eaten anything for themselves. If you have a cup of coffee and a donut or something for them, that's always a positive. So that's how I like to keep my students motivated for coming to class.
Yeah, those small little things like a cup of coffee can go a long way for sure.
Yes.
So in the classroom, what are some small strategies that you use to help students feel successful early?
So, as we know, we have a lot of paperwork to do right off the bat with registration and orientation and tape testing or whatever testing you do. I hate to say that I throw another test at them, but I kind of do sometimes. Based on their tape scores or their interest, I usually will give them a practice test in one of the subjects and hope that they pass. And then that's like their big small victory, right? Like, okay, you passed science. We don't have to worry about it again. Like, if I gave you the test right now, you'd pass. And I feel like that's a big motivator and a confidence builder to get them to think, oh, this isn't as big as I thought. I can do this. Look, I just passed one of the four, or one of the five tests. So, um, yeah, I hate giving them all those tests, but one that I think they can pass and they pass is a big motivator to make them feel successful.
Yeah, I think it's especially with GED high set, it's so hard when you think about all I have four, I have five subjects to pass. So
Right.
if we can just knock one out, that's one step. It feels a lot more doable for sure.
Exactly. And sometimes students just want, like, maybe we have to go one at a time, and that's fine. Okay, we focused on science. We're going to go take the test, then we're going to move on. Really, like I said, we have small classes. We can really individualize it for our learners.
Awesome. So when students do disappear, because we know that that happens, how do you welcome them? How do you get them back into your classroom?
Oh, I was never a cheerleader in school, but if you can imagine, I find like I'm a huge cheerleader for adult ed and our students. So I just make them like when they come back in, we don't have to talk about why you left or whatever happened. We're just starting where we left off, making them feel welcome again. Getting that cup of coffee, making sure we have something fun to look at, or if they do want to share, being there to listen. And we are counselors, we are motivators, we're all the things, right? So, not judging them or anything why they've been gone, making them feel welcomed and invited back to the class. And checking in. If they disappear for a while, doesn't hurt to send a text or an email and be like, hey, just want to make sure you're okay. I'm still here. And getting them to feel welcomed and encouraged to come back.
Yeah, I think just like the coffee thing, a little text, a little call can go a long way, knowing
Yep.
someone's in my corner, even if I've
Yes.
got everything else going on. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. We always got their backs.
Can you share an example of a moment when a student's confidence changed?
Sure. Let me think. I think I've probably shared this story a lot, but I had an autistic student once, and they sometimes tend to be my favorite to work with because they're just they each have their own little niche, and this one was nonverbal, and he we were going to write an essay, and it was very challenging to get him to write,
Mm.
and so I was trying to engage him in a topic I thought he would like. And I think I picked video games, and that was not a topic he was interested in. So he drew a cat. And okay, so let's talk about cats. So he started drawing more about cats, and then eventually we got to where he was writing about his cats and could tell me why he liked them so much. And then he got more engaged, and then he took the assignment home, and when he came back he had this beautifully typed out essay about his
Mm.
cats and how special they were, and each one had their own personality. So that was like a huge confidence, probably more
Mm.
for me than him, honestly, because I was just like, how are we going to get him to write an essay?
Mm.
But we made a connection, and he showed me what his topic was of interest, and then he took it and made it his own. And I think he probably got close to a perfect score on those
Wow.
essays because it was beautifully written. Had he had he didn't have statistics, but he had like lots of evidence to back up
Mm.
his reasoning for each of his cats. So,
Yeah.
um, when he came to write his own essay on the test, he did very well.
Wow,
So
that's awesome. That like ties in perfectly to what you said earlier too, with it finding what their interest is, finding what they're passionate about, and going off of there. So
yes,
yeah.
yep.
So in a similar thing, what role do you think relationships and trust play in the retention of our adult learners?
Huge, right? Like I said, we have students that come from all walks of life with lots of barriers, and trust is probably a huge issue. So we have to be a confidant for them, and
Mm.
they can tell us things, and we're not going to go share them with anybody. And it's not like in high school where we have to report it to someone. We can keep it to ourselves, and they can share struggles they're having at home, and we can try to find resources for them outside of adult ed to help them with those things. But if a teacher has that relationship where the student trusts them, I think
Mm.
that will get them to come back to class. Like, you show that you care, you're invested in them, then
Mm.
they're going to trust you to see with them throughout the whole process, whether it takes a month or years to get it done. They're going to be invested in you just as much as you show them that you're invested in them.
Yeah, I find that in our program we've had a lot of students who've had really bad school experiences from a lot of different reasons why. But when we come here, that's the first thing I say. Like, this is different. This is different. The relationships are different. The structure of our school is different, and you can trust that this process, like, we're not going to leave you behind. You,
Exactly. I am. So, little side story. This just makes me think of this, Maeve. I previously taught middle school
mm,
locally in the area, so I have several students. One of my friends' favorite line is me. Guess what? They were a former student. So I have a lot of former students that come see me
mm,
sometimes in adult ed. And sometimes they're even at the jail, which is always kind of
mm,
awkward, but it happens. And now that I'm not in that space of teaching a middle school, I
mhm.
can talk to them like an adult. I can
Yeah.
be more open and honest. And sometimes those students are like, wow, you are way different than you were in the middle school. I'm like, well, yeah, because they teach you not to smile and not to be, you're like a
Mm,
robot. But here I can be myself and
mhm,
be that engaging, trusting person that I want to be. And so I feel like that sometimes you have to break that barrier of their
mhm.
preconceived notion of what a teacher is like, and when they come to you, you can be a human and interact with
Mhm.
them and be real. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We're on the same level. We're all in this to get you to your goal. And
Yes.
go from
Yep.
there. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So what advice would you give for an adult education teacher who's struggling with student attendance or engagement or building those connections?
Um, I would say patience. You may think a student is going to be a fast learner and they're going to get done real quickly and they have all the time in the world, but really, it kind of boils down to having patience with them and
Mhm.
yourself because you got to take it at their pace. Maybe getting up at 10 a.m. is not working for them
Mhm.
and they're going to come in at 1 o'clock and maybe you're like, want to be done with it by then, but you got to have patience and take it on their schedule.
Mhm.
And then um, just realize we have to be extremely flexible in adult ed, right? Some days you're going to have a classroom of students and the next day you're going to have nobody. But that's what we do, and
Mhm.
when we have students, we're engaging, we're inviting, um, and we take things at their pace.
Mhm.
So it's kind of the beautiful thing of being an adult ed. We don't have those like strict deadlines, and we have standards, but we don't have to like make sure we hit all these standards right
Right.
in a time frame. We can take it based on the student's needs.
Mhm.
So I would say to an adult education teacher just starting, have patience, be flexible, and just be that cheerleader for them. That's the
Mhm.
biggest thing. I think that goes a long way when you show
Yeah.
you respect them and encourage them. Then they'll be with you.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. For a lot of our students, it's adult ed is the first positive education experience they've had. So if you can just show up for them, give them that patience, that grace, and show them that we're here for you, we're going to get this together, goes a long way.
Exactly. Yes. One other thing I think also like, especially with new teachers, in any school situation, we're so tied to worksheets and things. Like it doesn't always have to be worksheets. You can have conversations. You can do
Mm.
other activities. You can do things online. You could um, have them act. I mean, maybe not so much act out things when we have adults, but it's not always like have to be
Mm.
sit down and do the worksheet. We could be more engaging with our students too
Yeah.
in adult ed. So,
Yeah. That sounds like a great topic for an upcoming teacher talk. So
oh,
thank you.
hey, maybe we segued into the next month.
Yeah, that's
Stay tuned.
perfect. Well,
Yes.
I think with that we can go ahead and end it. Is there anything else you would like to share with us or
I would just say adult education works. We know it does, and thank you for all the good work you're doing. And I hope to see a lot of you at COABE in April in Indy.
yeah,
Thank you.
almost there. Yeah, thank you so much, Katie.
Sure.
Thanks.